The San Francisco 49ers have to make a decision at the defensive coordinator position. Wayne and I have already told you guys that we thought Bill Belichick might be the answer. But maybe the Niners see it a different way. Should the answer come from inside the organization or outside? All of that and more on today's episode of No Harm, No Foul. Let's get it.
Yeah, I don't know why I glance at the chat before the show starts, but I have to stop doing that.
They said if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all, right?
I didn't say anything. It was just funny.
Oh no, I'm talking about them, talk about me, so I can't respond.
Listen, Mike. You know the NFL Combine is going on right now. The big fellas are out there running, they moving, man. One of my prospects that I've been zeroed in on since the Senior Bowl is looking really good out there. Braden Fisk out of Florida State. Just curious, you know, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, the 49ers, can we just address this quickly? The 49ers, a lot of people feel that the 49ers don't need to draft defensive linemen. I don't know why they feel that way. But Mike, what are your thoughts on that? Because you got the 31st pick in the draft. If there's a defensive lineman that you are high on, I mean on your big board, and you see him there, are you drafting him because you need an offensive lineman, or like how would you go about it?
So if I have my top 10 offensive linemen and my top 10 defensive linemen, right? And of those top 10 of each, let's say I have 3 of each with first round grades on them. We're getting there to 31. All 3 of the offensive linemen are going. But one of those defensive linemen is still sitting there. I'm getting him. He's going to be a 49er. In all honesty, if they were even, if it was a dead tie,
I still would take
sitting there at 31. I'm taking the defensive lineman.
I'm taking the defensive guy. Look, I know it's not a. It doesn't seem like it would be the proper pick, because if you look at the areas of need, for the 49ers would be offensive line, cornerback, defensive line, maybe in that those are the
corner.
Oh yes,
high.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I know that the position's been devalued a lot, but
it hasn't. It's not that it's devalued, but just look at who's left.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. I know that the position of running back has been devalued a lot, but I think the Niners need a number 2 running back.
Absolutely, but I think in this draft, running backs will get pushed back. I think the corner. So you feel the cornerback position has been devalued a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so like right now we have Christian McCaffrey, and that's cool. And Elijah Mitchell is going to be
talking about running backs. I said cornerbacks. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I don't think corner's been devalued at all. No.
Right. So would you feel that's a high area of need for the 49ers then? Because when you look at the current roster, okay, that's why I was asking. That's all I was asking.
Yeah. I mean, you got Mooney Ward, who's going to be up out of here soon, right? And he's always injured.
All of them.
Even when he's here, he's not, right?
All of them. Like Mooney, Demo. No one wants to talk about Henry Thomas. They're all free agents next year after this next season. All free agents.
Right. So you got
Hufanga is another one. Are you looking to replace him? Is this injury something? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like people don't want to have these conversations, Mike, and I think it's good that we having these conversations. I'm not saying the All Pro is replaceable, but what if he's not the same coming back after the ACL?
But the original question was, what do you do at 31?
What do you do at 31? Look, okay, so if you factor what I asked after that, you told me if it was between offensive lineman and defensive lineman, and you had your top defensive guy, and they were neck and neck, they were tied, you would still go with the defensive guy. But what if there was a cornerback that was available, that slipped, that's your top cornerback? You wouldn't draft your top cornerback, top safety.
No. Because at 31, we got to get somebody who can start. And
so if there's a cornerback, first-round cornerback that drops to 31, let's say Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama, lockdown on the outside corner, drops to 31. 49ers have met with him formally. Let's say he drops to 31. This is a lot, guys. This is a guy that could potentially replace a guy like Mooney Ward going into the next season if you choose to re-sign Demo or however they want to go about it. But right now, he could come in and start day one opposite, and then Demo could go right to the nickel. So at least you're comfortable. You got a good nickel back. You got options, things like that. You wouldn't go with Kool-Aid, bro?
No, not even close.
Gotcha.
I need someone who would be a need and a plug and play type of guy. And there's not a lot of those positions that we need like that. And so I wouldn't do it. Now, if those remaining offensive linemen and defensive linemen aren't graded high, or I think I can get one of these other ones later, then that's different. But I'm not doing that. I need, for 31, give me somebody that is going to go through training camp and going to come in here and play. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
How cool was that?
Exactly.
I'm only drinking the Kool-Aid if it's red, because no other flavor is better than the red flavor.
Do you know my kids have never had Kool-Aid before?
That's good.
Oh, wait. They've had the little packs.
That's different. That's something totally different.
I have never purchased and made Kool-Aid in the house that we currently live in.
I feel like your card needs to be suspended for a little bit from that perspective, but from a health perspective, I have to give you a high five.
All right, I'll take the high five and the suspension. I got to lose a little bit of something, right? Because when I was young, bro, the kiwi strawberry was my joint.
No other flavor was better than red, and it couldn't have been cherry red too. I don't like the cherry red. It was tropical punch, I think, was the best flavor of Kool-Aid. It was like a blue pack.
Like a blue pack. Yeah. Jinx. It was a blue pack. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about too. But I swear on everything, I was talking about Kool-Aid this morning to my kids. And I was telling them how, like, you go to different people's houses and it's the thing calls for 1 packet for 1 gallon and 1 cup of sugar. I said, but you go to different people's houses.
Packet?
What I was, yes, I was a rule follower.
If you have to read the packet to make Kool-Aid, then you don't belong making Kool-Aid.
Well, I found out that I was the only other person that was following the rules, because my boys would get 2 different flavors, mix them together, and they just
man, that was some yeah, bro. Yo, you ever seen the movie House Party?
Yes.
And you remember when they made that Kool-Aid and I think the big dude put like the whole
spiked it.
He didn't spike it. He put this was when they were at Shireen's house, and he was in the kitchen, and he put the whole pound of sugar. So 1 packet of Kool-Aid
takes 1 cup of sugar.
Not
supposed to be, but my man put the whole 3-pound bag of sugar in that joint.
All right.
Crazy, man.
People probably like, how did they get the Kool-Aid? Because we were talking about Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama. Their number 1 DB, top 5 DB, in my opinion, in the draft. I just don't know if he'll fall to a 31. But if he's there at 31, this makes the 49ers decisions a lot more difficult, because you can get when's the first time the 49ers ever prioritized and drafted the defensive back that high? Number 1, that would be my question. Number 2, let's talk about these defensive coordinators that the 49ers have been looking into. Ooh, am I going somewhere with this? Wait a minute.
I tell you what. Hold on. I tell you what. I got you with this.
No, you don't. Tag team, you in.
I'll take Kool-Aid if we get rid of Chris Kosaric. Now,
Bullshit.
want
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
if we want to keep it real, see, listen, we talking about the guys that are coming in. I want to talk about the guys that aren't coming in, right? I want to talk about why the 49ers throw all of their resources at the defensive line, and every single year, defensive line is still a top priority for the 49ers. We get them in free agency, we get them in the draft, we trade for them. We throw all of our resources at the defensive line, and everybody's on Chris Koseric's sack. And I can't for the life of me figure out how many more first-round talented guys you need on this defensive line to get the production you're looking for. And how is it still always a top priority?
I feel like that's a tad bit unfair.
Okay.
Tad bit. Most of the bit is fair, right? I said tad bit because my question to clap back would be, how many of these guys are Chris Koseric's picks? Right? Like how much Mike, I know Chris Koseric.
Quiet.
So you telling me Chris Koseric handpicked Javon Kinlaw? You telling me Chris Koseric? Hold up. You telling me Chris Koseric said trade DeForest Buckner? You telling me so you? I'm not saying that he. What if he's giving players and he has to work with them? And what if some players just don't have it? Like, he could be the best defensive lineman coach. A lot of people say Chris Forster is a great offensive line coach. Why are offensive line always suck?
See, and that's the opposite to me. We are making it work with a makeshift offensive line. If we
make it work, and it shouldn't be makeshift. We're making it work because of the way Kyle is scheming plays to get open.
Chris Forster is coaching his butt off, bro. Are you kidding me?
I get what you're saying because he doesn't have
doing it with nobodies of nobodies.
I don't think he's coaching his butt off because if he did, the offensive line would be ranked top 10 and the defensive line wouldn't be. Like
the defensive line is not ranked top 10.
I'm just saying the offensive line isn't ranked high and he don't got those pieces. And I don't think Chris Koseric has all these pieces. He has Nick Bosa and then Javon Hargrave, who they got in free agency. Who the other pieces you're talking about?
He was the biggest free agent defensive lineman available. They got him. They got Eric Armstead, who was a first-round talent. They got Nick Bosa, who's a first-round talent. They went and got Javon Kinlaw, who was a first-round.
It stopped after Nick Bosa, bro. Like, literally. And then Javon Hargrave. Them your top two. Defenses come in, offensive lines come in, and they scheme to take them two out. If them other guys aren't producing, how that's on Chris Koseric?
He got Chase Young, a first-round guy. Cleveland Farrell.
You're saying he got these guys. My point is, you're saying that he has these guys. I'm asking you, he didn't pick these guys. What if he didn't pick these guys? He just got them. I don't
care if he didn't pick them. He's a position coach. Coach him. If you're supposed to be,
you have to care. Not every player in the league is coachable. You know that.
I don't care. He has more first-round talent than any other group.
I'm not
the whole team, bro.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but you can't sit there. You can't sit there and say you don't care. I don't disagree with you, but you can't say you don't care.
Because the reason I say I don't care is because I have no idea who picked it. He could have picked all of those guys and said, "Give me that guy." Give me. The reason I'm saying I don't care is because it don't matter. I don't know who he specifically picked. But I can say the same thing about Chris Forrester. I can say that about I don't know who said this is Chris's guy. We got to get him. It could be half of them. It could be none of them.
What was the? What would you would feel like the offensive line is in more dire need than the defensive line because of the pieces that Chris Koseric has opposed to Chris Forster?
Yes.
I disagree.
Chris Forster.
See, this is where I disagree because the continuity is there more with Chris Forster because he has the majority of the same dudes.
He don't have a choice because the team won't give him nobody else.
But you just said you didn't care. You just said you don't care. So
don't make that excuse for Koseric.
I'm not making an excuse for Koseric. I'm going off of you saying you don't care. So then I don't care. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is the defensive, they keep throwing at the defense because they still got to figure out how to get to these quarterbacks.
Don't say the defense.
I'm talking about the defensive front. That's the issue.
Yep.
That's the issue.
Yep.
But that's not just on Chris Kocurek. That's on the players. That's on the different scheme from the offenses. It's totally different. Mike, remember the year? Go back to 2022, right? That was the year Nick Bosa had 17 and a half sacks, 19 and a half sacks. He had a lot of sacks, right? Almost broke the record for the 49ers. He was defensive player of the year that year, remember?
That was like last year or the year before,
Before, 2022. Last year was 2023, right? The year he had that. The only difference between that defensive front was two players. They changed it up. They gave them different players, and all of a sudden it looked totally different. So now are we blaming Kocurek because the defensive front was different, or are we blaming the defensive coordinator and Steve Wilkes who got fired? Like come on, Mike. We played the blame game already.
Always somebody's fault except for Kocurek.
I'm not saying it's not his fault. I'm just saying who we blaming. We got rid of the coordinator because we said it was the scheme. It was the language of the scheme, or that the players weren't bought in.
Look at this.
Burns for Ayuk.
We shouldn't even be having this conversation with the bodies that we have given to this position.
I disagree because just because we got bodies at that position group don't mean they're all developed and good yet. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, so you got to continue to address it. You got to continue to go to this combine, go to the draft, find the best piece you could get, cycle them in there and see what you get. All right, I'll tell you what. Defensive edge position has 3 free agents: Chase Young, Cleveland Farrell. Who the other guy? Off the top of my head, I can't think of who it is. And then these are the guys that are returning. They have 5 guys returning: Nick Bosa, Drake Jackson, Robert Bill Jr., Alex Barrett, and Austin Bryant.
Okay.
So you gotta get more. You gotta get more talent there.
Got to get more, right? Because the other 3 people that are leaving, they did so much that we got to really replace them.
You're not going to pay them. It's not about what they didn't do so much that you got to replace them, but you got to replenish it because the defensive line is all about depth, right?
I feel like I'm in the twilight. Like yes, it is about depth.
So we just lost 3 pieces to the 8 of, and 2 of those pieces didn't play. Alex Barrett and Austin Bryant had maybe 1 snap.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're putting them in replacement because they're on the contract, they're on the books. You're putting them in to replenish those 3 pieces you lost: Chase Young, Cleveland Farrell, and who the hell am I missing?
Young. Oh, man, I'm about to look it up. Now I gotta look it up.
Damn.
49ers depth chart.
But here we go, Mike. So we were talking about the draft. Let's talk about the defensive coordinator position because the 49ers are clearly taking their sweet, precious time to get this right. Right? They're taking their time.
Randy Gregory,
like a 3-4 dude, outside linebacker type of dude, play defensive end. Yes, correct. Right. I can't believe we couldn't think of who that was.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, the way you shook your head, I got it. But my point is you have to replace the depth. And I don't think there's a starting caliber defensive tackle on this roster that's better than some of the talent that you could get in the first round in this draft or the second round in this draft. That's just my thing.
Think there's anybody with more talent than Chase Young in this first round?
I don't think so. But I mean, no.
Defensive tackle.
I take that back. I meant to say, well, defensive line. I want to talk about the edge.
Okay.
I don't think, as far as talent, yes, but I still want to see what Chase Young could be in this system ran the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see what that would look like because at the end of the day, Mike, I don't feel like we saw the defensive front that we were used to seeing. It didn't look right. And that was before Chase Young. So when you added Chase Young, it was good. And then all of a sudden, it went right back to the way it looked pre-Chase Young. More thinking, less stunting. So it was weird. So I would love to see what it's like if Chase Young could come in here, fire off the ball, power his way. He has good hands. So like, boom. But is there talent in this draft? Yes. But the question is, do you want to pay Chase Young 11 to 13 million for a season? That's the question.
Right.
And so that's why you got to look at the draft. Now, is there players in this draft that are better than players that we currently have on this roster, minus Nick Bosa at the defensive edge position? Absolutely. As much as I love Drake Jackson, remember, he was a project. He was tweening in. It's kind of like Solomon Thomas, but people don't want to hear this shit. He was tweening in his weight. He was asked to do multiple things at USC, going from the 3-4 to a 4-3 and getting big and getting skinny and try. It was a lot. It was a body shot. And he's an athletic freak for sure, but the Niners got to figure out how to get him right. Plus, he was unhealthy last year, so I don't really want to talk about him because he didn't get a chance or opportunity to play much. Mm-hmm. He had the interception in week 1. What was that? In Pittsburgh, right? And then after that, IR.
Yeah. I'm excited for Drake Jackson to return, honestly.
I am.
I would love for us to bring back Chase Young, get Drake Jackson healthy, see what Bill can do, and then that's it.
Wait, I thought I was the only person that wanted Chase Young back on this roster.
No, I just get tired of arguing with the faithful, so I just don't say it. But no.
Oh my God. It just makes so much sense. You can have a solid book in. It's all about money. So it all comes down to it's got to be a 1-year deal. I don't think the Niners offer him more than a 1-year deal. If I'm Chase Young, I stay with the Niners, I would only want a 1-year deal. I wouldn't want to lock myself up. And I know that the contract's going to be incentive based anyway. So it'll probably be more like 8 million can make up to 11 million, or 7 million can make up to 11 million to get to that number, which is going to make him have to play. It's going to make him have to be available. It's going to make him have to reach certain factors in his contract. And that's good for him. Then he's still young, no pun intended. And now he can go out there. If he wins a championship, he can really start demanding the contract. So that's kind of like how I look at the Chase Young situation. But in case they don't do that, because free agency starts, I begin next week. In case they don't do that, you got to pay attention to these prospects. And when you look at these defensive coordinator candidates,
they're all secondary coaches.
All of them, Mike.
They won't even this is what I don't understand about Kosaric. Like, he's got this lock on this team. They won't even entertain a defensive line coach. Like, normally coordinators work their way through the different position groups, right? So, like, I like David Merritt. He's coached linebackers before. He's coached the secondary. Now that's what he's doing for the from the Chiefs to the 5 years there with the Chiefs, the DBs and all that stuff, right?
Look who he was under though with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's key to me. To me, that's key.
Right. And he's got some familiarity, not for nothing, with a guy like Mooney Ward on our roster already. Right.
And he has familiarity with a guy like L'Jarius Sneed, who might be on our roster.
But yeah, so like I like this guy, and here's what I like the most about David Merritt. And I said it yesterday or the day before. Kyle called somebody, if you can't beat him, join him. And he called somebody about that. So I do like that. But it seems like it's all DBs, all secondary coaches, all of them. And I think that the secondary actually took a big step forward this year. Why break that up now? Let them continue that, and let's get somebody in here with a different mindset. Someone who maybe likes the game from a linebacker's position, where they know what's going on in front and behind them or something. I don't know.
But what if they're used to that and they want it to be different? And I'm saying, listen, as much as I love DeMeco Ryans, we ain't get to the Super Bowl.
Not the defense's fault, but yeah, that's true.
We ain't get there.
Right.
But with the DB's coach, we got to the Super Bowl. So as much as I love that linebacker mentality, because now you get the best of both worlds, right? You get partially the secondary in coverage, and you get the upfront on the front seven, right? That kind of makes sense to start with. There's not one candidate that fits that mold other than
David
Merritt. Now, they also are planning to interview Jets defensive backs coach Marquand Manuel, right? So I'm saying to myself, if he gets this job over Daniel Bullocks, who's the current secondary coach I'll be scratching my head a little bit.
I'm gonna let you keep cooking.
No. I don't know if I'm cooking because I'm torn because I'm like, well, but he is a guy that Kyle Shanahan knows from Atlanta. He is a guy that Kyle Shanahan is familiar with. Kyle Shanahan may have trust in him, and he's an outside guy coming in, opposed to having another inside guy move up. That's the question I got going in the poll. Should the 49ers hire internally from the inside or from the outside?
Right. I personally think it's going to be an outside hire. Otherwise, you would have been done already. I think like just the way it's looking, just look at it on its face value. I think that it's looking like it's going to be an outside hire. They know Bullock's already. They know what's the other guy's name?
Nick Sorensen.
Nick Sorensen already, right? So there's no need to extend this search. I think they want to bring somebody else from the outside in. But
so what are the advantages of that then, Mike? Like what are the advantages of the outside guy coming in? Because it depends on that outside guy. They brought an outside guy in last year. It worked. It's so funny. I don't know how to explain Steve Wilkes because it worked. Motherfucker, we were in the Super Bowl and we had that shit in the bag. I don't even think it was Steve Wilkes' fault that we lost the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, never mind. I'm sorry.
I can't respond because the show gonna go for way too long. But I agree with a lot of what you just said. I agree. Now, the defense wasn't the defense that we were used to seeing. We weren't as dominant in certain facets of it.
Season, correct.
Right.
But in that Super Bowl, they were dominant as hold up. They were back to week one dominance. Ask me how I know. It took a third down, freaking something I ain't seen since Colin Kaepernick played football type of play to get a first down, and that's when the defense kind of like was on skates.
Right. He gave up some third and longs, and I mean, it is what it is. I just feel like if the offense, never mind. So I think if you hire from outside, let them coach. Don't try to handcuff these guys. And that's the thing. If you're not going to check your ego, then just hire from within. And I'm not saying Kyle in general. I'm talking about the defensive staff, right? If you're going to hire somebody and everyone, this is how we do things here, so you can say what you want, but it's how we do things, then don't even waste time bringing somebody in.
Can go internally, right?
Right. Then just do it internally.
But what if Kyle was not trying to do that? Like, what if Kyle wasn't even trying to do that last year? What if Kyle Shanahan, and we don't know this, we know some to an extent. I didn't mean to cut you off though, but what if Kyle Shanahan felt like last year was too much of a strain on him?
I hope that's the case. So he steps back and says, let me just focus on what I do.
And
I hope that's the case.
But what if that's why this is taking its toll? It's taking its time. It's Kyle Shanahan really getting this right. And a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, Kyle Shanahan's not at the combine. He hasn't been at the combine. Let's refract this, because when they first started, Kyle Shanahan's ass was at the combine. Let's just keep it a buck. It was what it was. He wasn't just working with the coaches. Kyle Shanahan right now is looking for a defensive coordinator. That's key.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why he ain't here.
Yeah, it's more important than physically being at the combine, because I can run the tape back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can pull the numbers.
Right. You got time to watch tape at the combine, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yes, he trusts his scouts, he trusts John Lynch. All that's definitely an ensure. But what he's really trying to do, in my opinion, is figure out how to get this right. And I think that's something that we have to, if that is the case, we got to commend him on it, because he thought he had the Steve Wilkes hire right, and it went south. And now he's trying to make sure, if I'm going to go with an outside guy, what are their tendencies with the secondary? How is their philosophy with the pass rush? Are they gonna, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, type of guys. They're going to come in because you want the defensive coordinator to come in and coordinate. Shit. They ain't supposed to just run the plan. They are the plan. They create the plan. We don't ask an offensive coordinator. You don't ask Kyle Shanahan. He creates a game plan every single week. Defensive coordinators get paid to watch offensive film and put their guys in the right spots to negate what the offense is trying to do every single week. That's what defensive coordinators get paid to do. Then the great defensive coordinators might make adjustments on the fly. Why? Because the game ain't always going to go according to plan.
That's it. It's that simple.
So which one of the guys is going to do that? Which one of these guys you feel is going to do that the best? And please don't stay Brandon Staley, dog. I don't give a fuck what he did with LA Rams. I'm telling you what he did with the Los Angeles Chargers. They were terrible.
Yeah.
And he had.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at Staley going back to a defensive coordinator position, honestly. But I would take a shot with Merritt. I would not take a shot with Marquand Manuel. And if you're going to do it internally, then I think Bullock should be the guy, not Sorensen. So, but
I like Sorensen. I like Bullocks. I wouldn't have a problem with any one of those two guys being the defensive coordinator. The only thing that they lack is defensive coordinating experience. And most of these guys lack the experience. So, Mike, it's going to come down to that. Just real quick, man, before we jump off here, I'm just curious to know, is there a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or an edge rusher that's intrigued you so far that you could let the people know? If not, we can dip out.
No, you talking about a prospect?
Yeah, like that's what's going on right now. Tomorrow,
no, not
the next position.
Yeah, I'll have more on that later. I don't have anybody right now. So I can't give anything right now.
Cool beans. I put my stuff out on Twitter, but guys, I like Braden Fisk. I'm infatuated with the way he plays. I like his get off. It's very quick, and he doesn't jump off sides, and that's key to me. So that's one of my dudes, and he is killing at this combine right now. I mean, killing. He's killing at the combine right now. I'm watching him right now just do his drills with Byron Murphy, the second out of Texas. He is killing it. He's probably having the best combine as a defensive lineman, just like I said he would.
That sounds good to me. And he looks good too. So
Trey, what up?
We'll see. Listen, guys, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. We got to get out of here. Come on. No team is safe when the Niners are on the prowl. I'm Mike.
I'm Breezie.
This is No Harm, No Foul.
Peace.